Hey everyone, I'm Matt Evans and welcome back to Board Game Replay. If you're just joining us for the first time, this is a series where we're going to be sitting down for a post-game discussion of a particular board game, and then we're going to be talking about our experience with it, and while we're doing that, we're going to be cutting back to replays of exciting or fun moments that happened during the game. Today we're going to be playing Bioshock Infinite, The Siege of Columbia, designed by Isaac Vega and published by Plaid Hat Games. Now, we're going to go into a quick rules overview here, but before we do that, I just want to mention if you already are familiar with this game and you already know everything, you don't need a rules overview, feel free to click right here and skip to the main part of the video. So as I said, we're going to give you a basic rules overview here, which should be more than enough for you to enjoy our discussion today. But if you're looking for a comprehensive rules coverage on this game that goes into detail and covers all the little bits that I'm going to gloss over, you should really check out Watch It Played's video of this. Rodney Smith over at Watch It Played, he does this fantastic high production value, very professional rules walkthroughs and gameplay videos. And they did one for Bioshock Infinite here, and it's just absolutely fantastic. It's actually the official video rules of this game. So I highly recommend checking that out if you want to go into a real detail of all the rules. And I'll put a link to that in the description below, so check that out if you want a little more detail. Okay, so let's jump right in here. So many of you have already noticed that this game shares the name and theme of the very popular video game. But for those of you that don't know the video game, you're not familiar with it, don't worry too much about it because this game stands on its own as its own experience regardless of your knowledge of the theme. In this game, players will be taking on the roles of opposing factions vying for control of the city of Columbia. And players are going to start the game controlling a few small areas on the board. And throughout the game, they're going to be trying to capture and hold larger groups of areas called territories. And when they control these areas, they're going to gain victory points for doing so, as long as they can hang on to them. And basically, to control an area in this game, you just need to have one unit or structure in that space. In addition to controlling territories, there's also going to be these victory point cards that come out every round, and these cards are going to present optional objectives to the players that they can also complete for victory points. So during a player's turn, if he fulfills one of the conditions of these victory point cards, they're able to place their victory point tokens right on that card. Now, I mentioned victory point tokens, and players are going to use these tokens to represent territories they control or any victory point cards that they've completed in the game. But the interesting part about these victory point cards is that when a player completes or fulfills the conditions of a victory point card and they place their token on it, that player now controls that card and gains those victory points permanently. However, if they control, let's say, territory A up here, that's worth 2 victory points. If later in the game they somehow lose control of that territory, those victory points come back to their pool. So in order to win this game, a player needs to have all 10 of their victory point markers either on victory point cards or somewhere on the board, and as soon as that happens, the game ends immediately. Now, to help with all of this, each player has a unique deck of cards, and each card in that deck can be used in about 5 different ways during the game. If you notice each card here, each card has a printed combat, influence, and silver value here on the side of the card, as well as a special ability that's printed down here that's locked at the beginning of the game. And what's so interesting about these cards is they can be played during various phases of the game to help out in all kinds of different ways. For example, the first phase of the game, there's a vote, and players will play their cards into that vote with the influence value. They'll use the influence value in their cards to either help pass or fail that vote. Later on in the turn, they might be able to spend the same cards to give them extra money, the silver value, to help them buy units and structures. They can also wait even further into the turn and use these cards to boost their combat roll and use that top value to give them an additional boost in combat. The last part of the card is a special ability down here, and if they've unlocked that, which I'll get to in a second, they're able to trigger an additional really powerful ability that either helps in combat or in some other way during their turn. Now that I've talked about cards, I need to mention the upgrade track really quick. So each faction gets one of these upgrade tracks, and there's these 6 cards down here are all cards that are present in your deck right now. And whenever a player unlocks an upgrade for his faction, which is pretty common, you'll be doing it pretty regularly throughout the game, a player is going to get to choose to either upgrade one of the stats of this character, or they can unlock their special ability. So with this Flak Man here, I could either increase his Silver Eagle value, make him stronger in combat, make him worth more influence, or I can unlock his special ability so I can use that printed ability on his card for the rest of the game. So there's a lot of different options for cards, and each time you play, you're going to be building your faction a little bit differently, which is really cool. And one of the last little bits I want to mention is that as you're moving around this map and trying to control different territories, whenever your units move between large territories, they have to cross over something called the Skyline, which is basically like a crazy steampunk travel system that's really dangerous. And in doing that, whenever they go to move across, each unit has to roll the Skyline dice. Now the Skyline dice are these 3 yellow dice here. Whenever a unit attempts to travel from one space to another along the Skyline, they're going to have to roll all 3 of these dice and hope to get at least 1 thumbs up. If they've got at least one thumbs up present, that unit makes it across the skyline successfully, and they can continue on that skyline and continue to move if they'd like. However, if they do not roll a thumbs up, whatever the dice values show, that's the number of cards they have to discard, or that unit falls and dies from the skyline. So the skyline has this really nice risk-reward system built in. Lastly, while all this is going on, Booker and Elizabeth are going to be running around the map, starting fights and triggering events on this timeline track over here, which I won't get into too much detail on, but for the most part, they're the protagonists of the video game, so this is them running around doing the things from the video game while these warring factions are going at each other. Now I want to mention that this game can be played with 2 players, head-to-head, or with 4 players in teams of 2 versus 2. Now today we're going to be playing this with 4 players, but the following rules walkthrough we're about to do, or round walkthrough I should say, that's going to be just 2 players. And the reason for that is that the rules are largely unchanged between 4 and 2 players. Each player is going to be controlling their own color of units, they're going to have their own deck of cards, but they're going to be sharing an upgrade track for their faction. Whew, for a brief overview, that took a little bit longer than I expected. Why don't you stay tuned, we're going to walk you through an entire round of the game just to give you an even better feel of how things work. Alright, so I'm joined by Brian. We're going to walk you guys through a sample round of Bioshock. So the first phase of the game is the world event phase, and so we're going to start that now by drawing the top card of the world event deck. And here we've drawn Patriots Rejoice. And this card says, if this vote passes for this round, each founder player may choose to upgrade an action card of their choice. Now as I mentioned before, depending on which faction this favors, it's going to, for instance, this favors the founders faction, so there's a plus with my color faction, and there's a minus for the Vox faction. So right now, Brian and I are going to play a number of cards, any number that we want, face down onto the table, and we're going to use the influence value on those cards, basically, to count towards that vote. So Brian is first player, so he's going to place the first card down. He's going to play 1, and I'm also going to play 1. And now we're going to reveal, starting with Brian.
2 influence.
He played 2 influence in. Excuse me. and I played 2 as well. But, so we have a tie right now. However, I actually have my Boys of Silence upgraded here, so they're going to add an additional 1 to my influence value. So this vote passes, I get to get a free upgrade right now. So I'm going to go ahead and upgrade my Boys of Silence a second time and give them a +2 influence on future turns. So this guy gets discarded. In addition to that, I played the most influence on this turn from my hand. Whenever that happens during this phase, that person who played the most gets to claim first player. Taking the first player token, and again, whenever you do that, you also get another free upgrade. So in this case, I will upgrade one of my motorized Patriots. Okay, so now that we're done with the vote, the next step is for Elizabeth. We look at this card to see if Elizabeth's portrait is on it. It's not, so we move right on to the next phase, which is move Booker. There's a 4 on this card, which indicates location number 4. That's where we're going to move Booker to. And you'll also notice there is a portrait of Booker's face right here. You probably can't see this very well, but there is Booker's face on this card, which means when he moves to that space, he's going to be aggressive. So I'm going to pick up Booker and move him. And again, he moves with Elizabeth at this point in the game, based on the Elizabeth timeline, which I explained before. Booker is going to land in this space with my units, and he's immediately going to trigger a combat. And Booker is rough, so we're going to get rid of this card for now and go up here. And I'm going to give Brian the combat dice for Booker. Normally Booker rolls 3 red dice, but because of the Elizabeth timeline, where we're at in the game, he's actually rolling an additional blue die. And there's a little bit of story and flavor behind it, but I won't read that to you. Just know that he's a little bit stronger at this point in the game. So, I'm about to have a combat with Booker. Now I'm going to get to play any combat cards from my hand to add to my roll after this, because I'm not rolling very much against Booker, and he's really strong. You know, I want to save some of these cards for when it actually is my turn, so I'm going to play this Motorized Patriot card now and use its combat effect, which I just unlocked earlier. Now this card says, before dice are rolled, you may move 1 common unit you control from any location on the board onto this location. So I decided, I played this card, I'm going to move this common unit here, I'll move him onto this space. It's just going to give me a little bit more of a boost in combat. Alright, that's done. I'm going to roll the dice for my space. So I've got 1, 2, 3 common units, so that's 3 white dice. And then I also have this whistle here, which is going to add +1 for each die that I roll. That's what an alarm token or a whistle does. You ready to roll this? So we're going to roll. I'm probably going to get pounded. All right, so I've got an 8, plus the 3 for my alarm token. So whoop-de-doo, I've got an 11. What do you got?
21.
So 21. Booker has absolutely crushed me in this case. I have lost a combat, which means I need to destroy one of the units on that space, which means it's going to come back to my pool. And now these other 2 units have to retreat back to the nearest stronghold, or the stronghold of my choice, which is, this is the only one that I control. And now since this alarm dial structure here is just sitting there with none of my units in the space, it gets destroyed. And Booker and Elizabeth are just hanging out after kicking my butt. So that's the end of the world event phase, and now we move on to the player turns phase. Starting with the produce step. I'm the first player, so I'm going to go first, and I'm going to produce. So that means I'm going to play any number of cards from my hand for the silver eagle value here on the side. It looks like a silver coin. I'm going to discard 2 cards worth a total of 3 silver eagles. I'm going to claim 3 silver eagles from the bank. That was easy. And now I go to the recruit and build step. And this is where I'm going to spend 3 to build a structure. I'm going to build another alarm dial over here in town center because I control that space. And then I'm going to spend 3 for a common unit and place him here because I control that location. And then I'm going to spend 4 for a special unit, and I'm going to also place him in this zone. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to move. So I can move up to a total of 4 units. 1 space on the board, or I can use the skyline. Brian will show you that on his turn, but for now I'm just going to move my units to an adjacent space. So I'm going to move, I'll move these 3 units. I'll move my leader and 2 common units down here, and that's going to do it for my movement phase. Once my movement is over with, I now have to resolve combat that's going to be happening in any of those spaces. So these guys are sitting in a space with an unclaimed territory token. That's going to be a combat free. I'm going to flip that over and I'm going to do it right now. This token has a combat value of 8, which means I have to roll a total of 8 to defeat this territory token and claim the silver eagle value. So I'm going to roll 2 white and a red. Thank you. 2 white and a red because I have 2 common units and a leader in this space. So I have to overcome 8 to do this. I really want to make sure I nail this combat. So before this happens, I'm going to play this handyman card into the combat for his combat value here at the top left. It looks like a little crosshair. It's the same symbol as that. I'm going to play him. That's going to add 3 to whatever I roll. All right, so I've got a 6, 9, 10, 11, and then I've got another plus 3. So a total of 14. I only needed an 8. I've destroyed this territory token. I claim 4 silver eagles because that's what was on the token. And I've now won a combat, so I get another upgrade. And I will unlock the ability for my handyman characters going forward. And that's the end of my turn. It's going to move on to Brian. Actually, before we start your turn, Brian, I should note I hold this entire territory here now because I control these 2 spaces. I'm going to place a victory point token there because I control it. Sorry, Brian, it's your turn.
I'm going to skip the produce phase and building phase, and I'm going to go right into attacking. I'm going to move my airship for free because it doesn't need to roll skyline dice while skylining.
Oof.
I'm going to play the Skyrider. I have unlocked his special ability, and now I can move a unit up to 3 spaces on a skyline without rolling the dice. And now I'm going to attempt to move my handyman across.
Skyline dice.
Got the thumbs up, so he goes across.
All right.
And just for the heck of it, maybe I'll send the common unit over too.
Okay. You made it.
Made it.
Whew. We're going to have a combat blowout now, right in this space. So we've already set aside our dice for this combat. I have a common unit, a special unit, and I have a turret here in an adjacent space. So I'm going to roll a blue for the special unit, a blue for the turret, and then a white for my common unit. Brian, what do you got?
I have 2 leaders, so 2 red dice, a special unit for a blue dice, and a single common unit for a white dice. Plus, I have cards in my hand.
He does. Want to play some cards into this fight?
I'm going to play 2.
Okay, and I'm first player. I didn't have any cards to play, otherwise I have an opportunity to play cards as well. But I had nothing to play, so Brian started off. Go ahead and reveal those before the combat. Oof, so Brian's adding 5 in addition to whatever he rolls here. So let's roll our dice. We have to do some quick math on camera here. I've got 9 total.
20.
20. Okay.
Plus 5,
I think
25.
I think you got me. So I've lost this combat. We're familiar with this process already. Brian, you're going to control this territory. I no longer hold this top spot here, so I lose control of the full territory. I have to take my victory point tokens back, and now you control that.
But I do control 6 territories, so that means I get to put one of my victory points right here.
On a card. Yeah, now, he controls that during his turn, so he's able to claim this card, and I can never touch it again. Now that that's been claimed, it's basically claimed for the entire game. So that does it for player turns. The last phase of the game is the refresh phase, where all players have the option of discarding any number of cards from their hand and then drawing back up to 5. I have no cards to discard, so I'm just going to draw 5 cards. And lastly, we draw a victory point card, another additional victory point card to come down here And this is going to give us another objective to shoot for throughout the game, in addition to trying to control spaces on the board. That pretty much does it for a round. I mean, I think we've given you a basic idea of what to expect in this game. I think it's about time to get into the real game. Stay tuned. I'm very excited about today because we want to show you. Why don't we just start this off with a replay? I guess that seems to make the most sense because
it happened.
Brian and I have a video we'd like to show you first. All right, new victory point card for the turn, which is you control 4 locations on the board with structures on them. That's worth 1. Okay, so we're going to place cards into vote. First player is Chris. So Chris, you're going to play cards first.
I'm going to play 1.
Brian.
Light blue. All right, you're playing 1. Isaac, how many would you like to play?
3.
And I'm going to play 5.
Ooh.
All right, let's reveal our cards here. Chris, what'd you play?
5.
Chris played 5.
I played 2.
I have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Right.
I played 5 plus a million
5.
points. I like 20. So I played 5 because I noticed that I want to get first player. So give me first player token. I don't think there's anything that's going to stop this. First player token, and we get an upgrade. I'll upgrade this guy, sure. And on my turn, I control 4 locations with structures on them, and that's going to place our last victory point, which is going to give us the win.
Oh no!
I think this is the first time I've ever won a game ever. In like
A year.
Yeah.
so far.
There were battles and handy.
I was all excited on the last turn. I was like, oh my god, I'm going to play 5 cards. What do I... Can I win? And I'm like just thinking,
one,
how
two,
can I
three,
screw
4.
this up?
Could I even have played?
Not even close. I mean, look at it. Look at the bonuses I have. Because this guy's worth
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10,
Plus
11,
1 for
12,
every card that I
13.
played.
Yeah.
Oh, plus 1.
I
Oh,
mean,
that would have
just
put it
way
around.
too many.
It happened. It happened. It finally happened.
It was bound to. I mean, the odds were in your favor at this point.
Which is like number 7. Yeah, I think so. And I mean, let's be fair too. I was on a team as well, so let's not give me too much credit because I did have a
True.
teammate who I was bouncing things off of on a regular basis and who really kind of held things down here in Battleship Bay, Soldiers Field.
That's right.
Oh man, that was fun. I mean, that ended kind of like suddenly. Like it. I was thinking, like, this is our second 4-player game that we've played, but we've played this a number of times 2-player, but it went a lot faster than I expected. I mean, yeah, there's a little bit more downtime because you've got 4 turns going, but you're engaged in every turn because it's your teammate making moves and stuff. But that went fast. That was 5 rounds, and it was over at the beginning of the 5th round. That was quick. Yeah, I think this, from playing a 4-player game even more so, I think there's a lot of layers to this game. I mean, and you had said it, it's a pretty like straightforward in terms of area control. It's pretty straightforward, but there's a lot more to it than just than holding a territory.
Like Spartacus, you have so many facets of how you can add under the table. Like Spartacus, you have you can control the game in a lot of different ways.
Yeah.
You can, I mean, if you're really good with card play and jumping in at the last moment during a fight to add in that extra card that's going to put you over the top. I noticed, like, with upgrades and stuff, kind of planning ahead, Chris is all over that. Like, I completely let him decide all the upgrades throughout the game. It kind of makes it... He has a lot more vision, where I'm... I like how battles play out in this game, and I like to focus on that.
That's fair.
The game is strategic, and there's a lot of resource management. It's pretty straightforward of what decisions you want to play where, but the RNG element of the game is very heavy, and sometimes dice just wreck your day.
Yep.
I made an assault earlier, which just got wrecked by the Skyline.
That would have been us.
All right, give me them Skyline dice. We're going to make some bad decisions.
All right, let's see this.
Sorry.
I was like, where are you going? Okay, this will be good.
Ooh.
2 cards.
Ouch.
Are you doing it?
Or you can die. You know, that's fine too.
Card
All right, what are you
guy.
doing?
No.
Oh,
So he's gonna
man.
die. One of them died. You're gonna fight me though with your handyman? 8, 9, 10.
You win.
Plus 5.
Yeah, I was like, I got 10.
I feel like that was a big moment for us.
No!
We needed that.
You're like,
2 handyman lost in 1 turn.
Oh,
that
that's-
sucks. That's
That's
you know
like-
what, that evens
that
the
ain't
tables for that evens the tables for an early game.
be like, well,
Right, that
RNG will be
advantage.
RNG. Yeah.
All right.
So as far as that assault, I thought the odds were in my favor. I like the dice pools. I like this is the moment. I have early. He hasn't reinforced yet.
Right.
Like maybe I can get onto that other continent, because one thing that I did find in this game is that it's a lot easier to defend than it is to assault. So there's only certain windows that you can assault in, and if you miss those windows, once people are set up,
Yeah.
then the numbers will never be in your favor. I do like that they add in that you can only ever be 3 upgrades behind, so that way it kind of tones it down.
And I think to your point, yeah, you want to definitely get into people before they really set up. And once they have set up, there are ways to break through it, but it really does require it requires a full hand of cards, some really careful resource management to overcome something like
And
that.
luck.
And some luck. Yeah, you're rolling dice. I think your move over here I think that was the right time to do it. You saw me move up there with only a couple of units. I mean, I had a little bit of defenses, but you knew I was settling in and getting cozy, and you didn't want me to do that. I mean, look at now there's more units on the board, but I was spread pretty thin.
It was strategic, and it just didn't fall in your favor. 2 things that didn't quite happen in this game that I thought were going to be huge, especially after playing the first time, and it was like such a huge thing that happened to us, was Booker, and he never really came into play this game, because it's really powerful if you're owning the majority of the board and having all that space covered.
There's a similar mechanic in City of Remnants, and it's actually the same designer, so I guess that makes sense. I really like that the Booker and Elizabeth there's an uncertainty about the game, and you're never really comfortable in a space. And I, as I mentioned, I was nervous, like holding this territory with these few units. If we had turned a card and Booker was suddenly aggressive, I was toast. Like I was going to lose a lot of ground quickly.
That's another thing I wanted to mention is that I feel that the red team needs to be aggressive at least at some point in the game, and I feel that was our downfall. We weren't able to be competitive in these areas.
And you guys have too. I mean, your airship
Exactly.
is a really big way for you to be aggressive.
Yeah.
Whenever you play the airship card for any effect in the game, it automatically lets you move the airship to any space or that space.
Any space.
Any space. So it's a really good way to be aggressive into assault. But that airship card too, you can use that defensively. I mean, you played the right cards at the right time a lot.
I drew that card first turn, so it was sitting on my hand for a while.
You know a little something about the airship card, don't you?
Yeah, my first major assault. I went from right in the center, straight up, to 2 of Isaac's handymans.
2, that's it.
Just 2. Should have been cake.
What's going to happen? What's going to happen? Your leader. Oh, no. Yeah, you get rid of 2 cards. Yep. Who else are you moving? Oh. Nice. All right. So combat. So yeah, play any cards face down,
Yeah.
starting with the attacker. So,
So
you guys reveal your
flip 'em.
cards. Yep. So what are you adding?
Boys of Silence
I don't
get
have-
plus
yeah.
1, so 3, 4, 5.
And you flip yours as a. Yep.
6.
Oh my god.
So that's going to fly over there now.
I bet you forgotten about that card.
I have mine.
What'd you roll? 12.
Red.
17.
Blue.
With all your added?
19.
19
Yeah.
versus 17. You got 17 right now.
Give me your lowest rolled die.
And then you get to re-roll and count it as yours.
Dude, that's so dumb.
2. So what'd you got? He wins the
19.
fight.
How did that happen?
He had a full hand.
How did that happen? No, it was those 2 cards.
That was a great way.
Steal my card and steal the dice.
That could not have been played any
Do I get to choose who he destroys?
No, that-
He has
right?
No, he just goes home.
Oh man, that was a hell of a fight. Okay.
So that airship card really helped me in that spot to take over Brian there, and led to me being able to counterattack
Dude, he can counterattack so hard.
Little
I
counterattack.
I
full Skyrider because you got that last turn for me.
boy.
Thanks,
Yeah,
buddy.
no problem.
And this guy can move.
You gonna try getting one of those guys across?
You know,
I mean, what's gonna happen?
What's gonna happen?
You lose all your units.
Come on.
You have no cards. Oh yes.
Lose them.
Oh, it's gonna be.
No
what's it gonna
thumbs
be?
up.
Oh!
Boom, and the
I love
handyman falls. Wait, what?
He's gonna do it again. He's gonna. Sorry, this guy's dead. He fell off.
Yeah.
Can I? He's dead. He fell.
You just like
Whoa,
left
whoa.
him there.
Wait.
I know.
He fell off.
I just want to throw more people
Come on,
into the
come
ocean.
Oh, there you go. All right. Now we're gonna get crushed. Eesh.
7, 8.
Is that a 7 and an 8?
Yeah.
Let's
Oh my
count it up first.
That's 19 to your what? 8, 9. That was a pretty strong counterattack. I don't think he enjoyed
Airships.
that.
Airships. So I got pushed back to my stronghold, but it didn't end there. I reinforced my troops. I did a big assault against him again to retake my territory. Big numbers were rolled. 4 for a turret.
Yeah, see that?
Nice. That's my turret. But yeah, I understand what you're doing. I like your spirit. I like your spirit. That's good. Yeah.
4 for my handyman.
Oof.
Here it comes.
Oh man, this is gonna get good.
1,
Leader.
2, 3, 4, 5.
5 movements total because your special ability.
Oh, yeah.
Oh. Brian's playing 2 cards face down. What are you playing?
4.
Here we go.
Oof. -1 to all your dice roll. That's a
Oh,
minus
minus 6?
6 to combat.
Yikes.
That hurts. So is that all your dice?
35.
Minus 6.
29.
29. 29 to your 23,
23,
24.
24.
He's got you anyway. He's got you.
That was still pretty serious.
That was a pretty big fight. Brian, taking that back.
Oh, I got an upgrade, right? No.
You do get you do get an upgrade for Jesus. Oh
And I
man.
was
What about character special abilities? You know, what did you guys? I mean, your character was awesome. You used him a ton.
Yeah, this is my first time playing on the founder's side, and I got Henry Saltonstall, who is able to move an extra unit.
It's mustache
Per
and
turn?
Saul.
He's a pretty big
That's
mustache.
a monster stash, dude. That's a monster stash.
It's commanding. That's why he gets an
Yeah.
extra unit.
that's right.
So I was able to use 5 people per turn.
5 movements. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's-
5 movements.
That's
And
strong.
it's as soon as I saw that, I was like, well, that kind of helps me on assaulting other areas. So earlier in the game, that's what I did. I tried to build as many units as I could for future assaults.
Yep. Yeah, and I had the bonus influence on my character, which gives you that extra little vote to push it over the top, and it's for every card played.
That helped a lot.
So those turns where I was playing, I think I played 3 tonics one turn just to get
Yeah.
+1 to each card, just to have something to play. It's pretty good.
I had Owen McKenna.
You sound disappointed.
Yeah, I am though. I really feel that the first time I played the game, I had what's her name? Daisy.
Yeah.
And she is awesome.
Yeah.
1 less to all units.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Cost 1 less.
Yeah, recruiting costs less.
Which is so cool. I think his is cool with the you gain a silver every time you're in a battle, whether you win or lose. It ended up helping me a little bit. It's definitely weaker than a Daisy. I feel, especially I guess with my play style.
That's pure aggressive,
weaker.
you know, that's
you
aggressive.
have to be aggressive every turn, and you should. I mean, I should be getting in the back line so I can do like these little battles where I only need to send a couple guys there.
Yeah, maybe like that kind of encourages like early
It's
game
true.
aggression, just getting out there, getting into battles. Even if win or lose, you still get some money out of
That's
it.
right.
You're always getting something. What about you, Chris? What did you have? I don't even know what your ability was.
I had the ability to discard a card to get a free upgrade once per turn. So I think I only used it once,
Yeah.
twice. Yeah,
Pretty
I
situational.
used it twice because early you don't have the. It's nice to be able to choose a less powerful card in your hand at the beginning of your turn, so that way you can give yourself the ability for another card in your hand to unlock their ability.
Mm-hmm.
I think I did. I don't know. It was either the handyman or the money on the rebel, because whatever's in your hand to start with, just unlock it. You get so that way you can start your turn with an upgrade,
Mm-hmm.
and then you can move on from that by getting more upgrades through the neutral creep. No?
Neutral creep.
Yeah, they are.
Territory tokens.
They're
Territory tokens.
The territory
Question mark
tokens.
creep?
Yeah, neutral creep. That's good. I like that.
Yeah. I mean, there's no real downside to playing your whole hand every turn, because if you run your deck out, you just shuffle it back in again.
Mm-hmm.
So anything you don't use, you're just leaving on the table as lost resources.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought that if you don't do combat in any given turn, then the potions would
Tonics.
tonics
Yeah.
would start to build up in your hand, and they were making you lose more resources for the following turn. So there's only one of each type, so you kind of feel bad just discarding them so you can keep cycling your hand.
Yeah.
But
So situational.
Yeah,
I feel the same way.
Yeah.
I got that murder of crows early in the game and shut down one of your movements, which
Right here.
that
That
when those
killed me.
when those situations come up and those tonics and it's just right, man, it's
Stinks.
so nice to have it at that moment. But yeah, they're so situational. Like the Undertow one, it's awesome.
Yeah,
If you're in that spot.
right, exactly, and that was the one that I actually discarded towards the end of the game. I think the balance within the deck is very well done.
Yeah. I think this is a good time to bring up too that this game is like really well designed. I think it's a really well designed game with a totally awesome theme. I mean, if you don't know Bioshock, if you're not familiar with Bioshock Infinite, it's still a great game. I mean, it's still a really well designed game, and it's a there's a fair amount of dice rolling. There's some luck that can happen in the game. So it's a medium weight in terms of complexity and like things and upgrades and stuff like that and situational cards, but the overall scope of the game is pretty straightforward. You're trying to control spots. You've got these randomized victory point cards coming into the turn, and yeah, I was surprised that this game was as good as it is for being a game that's based on a video game. I mean, those are pretty much always guaranteed to be stinkers. It's just every time.
Well, two things. The game is really intense. It's compact. There's more building up to really quick epic moments instead of like taking all day like some games really like take. I mean, this was probably an hour and 20 minutes if we had never gotten up from the board. But the other thing is, like, I wanted to mention is there's some games that try to cash in on drawing a theme from a video game or something else. This game is themed in the way it is, and it's awesome because I like Bioshock, but even if you don't, like you said, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, while you're playing, if you've played the game, you have familiar faces, the characters, all the familiar units you go against, and all the different places you'll visit. And it's fun that Booker and Elizabeth they run around the board too. They do stuff, unlike this game that they didn't.
Yeah, they didn't do much this game. Yeah,
having all the customization you can do with the cards, their abilities set them apart. But you can look at what their resources are, their attack, their influence, and you can customize it however you want to build, which is a pretty cool aspect of the game.
I mean, I've never played Bioshock Infinite, so this is not familiar to me at all.
Yeah.
To me, it's just another good game that the game designer picked the names of all these units and all the names of the
For all
characters.
units.
That's right.
Like, for all I know, it's just like City of Horror. It's just like
That's right.
Yeah.
more things. So I mean, like, it was a good experience, even not knowing the theme or the storyline or anything to do with the backstory. Going into it, this is just a game that doesn't suck.
Yeah. I think that's a great way. Like, that's the first thing you have to say when you see a game like this. Like, I said it for the video with Spartacus, so I was like, I wanted to start it out by just being like, I promise you this game doesn't suck. Like, you just look at the box, you're like, Spartacus, what the hell? And then you see, a video game tie-in to something that's not a video game. Oh, this is probably not going to be great, but...
This is a guy who actually... this is a group of people that really design games and really, like, know what they're doing,
Yeah.
obviously, and
Plaid Games doesn't mess around. Plaid makes
They
quality
do.
games, and I am really Isaac Vega designed this game as well as City of Remnants and
Great
and
name.
others
Great
and well designed. You say great name? Oh man, that's good. I think this is well designed for sure. So at this point, I think, Will, you haven't seen any of this because for the last 5 minutes we've just been talking about video games, the video game story, and spoilers. But as a last note, I'll say this game is pretty cool in terms of the story too because it doesn't really spoil anything from the game. So if you're waiting to play the game before you play this, you don't have to worry about it. The spoilers in this are extremely minor. Like, you know about an Elizabeth character and a Booker character, but that's about it. There's really no spoilers. So before we spoil anything, though, we should probably wrap it up. I think we're good.
absolutely.
We covered it.
We're good.
Awesome. As usual, thanks again, everyone, so much for watching, and we really appreciate all the great feedback we've been getting, and we're excited to keep doing this. So thanks a lot for watching.